Growing up in India, I was always surrounded by a whirlwind of expectations. Be this, don't do that. Girls should behave a certain way, dress a certain way, speak in a certain tone. I was told to be softer, quieter, more lady-like. But let me tell you something, the moment I stopped living by everyone else's rules and started embracing my identity, everything changed. And that's the first truth I want to share with you. You cannot be powerful until you are fully, unapologetically yourself. Owning your identity means understanding who you are at the core, not the version of you that pleases people, not the filtered version that's designed for likes and validation. I'm talking about the raw, unedited, fierce version of you that you may sometimes hide even from yourself. The one who dreams big, who loves deeply, who is vulnerable but still strong, who cries in the dark but shines in the light. In my journey, I had to fight for my identity more than once. When I won Miss World at 18, I was celebrated, admired, and put on a pedestal. But guess what? Even with a crown on my head, I still heard voices whispering, she's too bold, too outspoken, too Western, too dark, too ambitious. And I used to believe them for a while. I used to shrink myself. I tried to mold myself into what I thought the world wanted me to be, but you can't win by pretending to be someone else. You can only truly shine when you stand in your truth. When I came to America and started auditioning for roles, I was told I needed to change my name. Can you believe that my name, Priyanka Chopra, wasn't marketable enough? It wasn't familiar enough. They wanted something easier to pronounce, something palatable. I said no. That name carries my heritage, my history, and my entire journey. It carries my parents' dreams and my country's pride. If people can learn names like Schwarzenegger and Tchaikovsky, they can learn Chopra, and they did. Owning your identity is also about embracing your imperfections. We live in a world that is constantly selling us an idea of perfection, on magazine covers, on social media, in movies. But the truth is, the most beautiful, powerful women I've met are the ones who carry their scars with pride. Whether that's a scar from a childhood injury, a heartbreak, a rejection, or a failure, it's all part of your story. Don't hide it, flaunt it, because every mark, every lesson, every heartbreak has shaped you into who you are today. That's your power. You need to love the parts of yourself that the world has tried to dim. Your voice, use it. Your skin, celebrate it. Your mind, feed it. Your dreams, chase them relentlessly. The world may try to box you in, but you are not meant to fit in a box. You are meant to break out of it, stand tall, and say, this is who I am, and I'm not going anywhere. There will always be pressure to conform, to wear the right clothes, date the right person, choose the safe career. But your journey is your own. If I had followed the expected path, I might have ended up as someone's idea of perfect. Instead, I chose to be my idea of powerful. I became an actor, a producer, a singer, an author, a UNICEF ambassador, a businesswoman, and a mother. Not because it was easy, but because I refused to be anything other than my whole multidimensional self. I want you to know that there is incredible power in embracing your heritage, your culture, your quirks, and your truth. Whether you speak with an accent, whether you were raised in a village or a city, whether you love makeup or prefer none, whether you wear heels or sneakers, none of that determines your strength. What does is the fact that you are not afraid to say, this is me. We all have a voice. And that voice matters, so use it. Speak up, even if your voice shakes. Walk into every room like you belong there, because you do. Your identity is not a limitation. It is your launch pad. It's your armor, your compass, your lighthouse in the storm. And here's the thing. Owning your identity isn't a one-time decision. It's a choice you make every single day, when you choose to be kind in a cruel world, when you choose to be fierce when they expect you to stay silent. When you walk tall, even if the world tries to cut you down. So my message to every girl, every woman listening today is this. You don't need to be anyone else. You are enough, you are worthy, and you are powerful exactly as you are. Own that, live that, be that, because the world doesn't need another imitation. It needs your real, raw, radiant you. Growing up, we're often taught that saying yes is a good thing. It means you're helpful, agreeable, polite, cooperative. But no one really teaches us the power of no, and yet it's one of the most powerful tools a strong girl can ever learn. Saying no isn't rude, it's not selfish, it's not defiance, it's self-respect in its purest form. Learning to say no changed my life, and I believe it can change yours too. As women, we are conditioned to be accommodating. We're told to smile more, to nod, to say yes even when we want to scream no. From the classroom to the boardroom, from our families to our friendships, we're made to feel guilty for turning things down. But here's what I've learned. Every time you say yes to something that doesn't feel right to you, you are saying no to yourself. And you deserve better than that. I used to struggle with this. When I was starting out in my career, I felt this pressure to please everyone: producers, agents, brands, media, even people I didn't know. I felt like if I said no, I'd lose my opportunity. I'd lose their approval, and maybe even lose my place in the room. But what I didn't realize back then is that if you constantly say yes just to stay in the room, you end up becoming a version of yourself you don't even recognize. And that's a steep price to pay for approval. I remember being offered roles that didn't align with my values. Roles that were designed to objectify me, stereotype me, silence me. I had a choice: accept those roles and move ahead in the game, or say no and risk being sidelined. It was terrifying, but I chose the second option. I said no. I chose dignity over visibility, and while the road was longer, it was mine, and it led me somewhere much greater than I imagined, to roles that celebrated me, to projects that mattered, and to a self I could respect. Saying no isn't just about work, though. It's about life. It's about your peace of mind, your energy, your boundaries. Saying no to a toxic relationship doesn't make you cold, it makes you brave. Saying no to a night out when your soul needs rest doesn't make you boring, it makes you wise. Saying no to people who constantly take from you without giving anything back doesn't make you mean, it makes you strong. One of the biggest lessons I've learned is that no is a full sentence. You don't need to explain it. You don't need to apologize for it. You don't need to water it down to make it easier for others to digest. No, thank you is enough. No, I'm not available is enough. No, this doesn't work for me is enough. If someone can't respect your no, that's a reflection of them, not of you. The truth is, every strong woman you admire has learned to say no. No to disrespect. No to being underestimated. No to being boxed in. That no is what created space for a much more powerful yes. Yes to growth. Yes to self-worth. Yes to relationships that nourish rather than drain. Yes to dreams that align with your soul. And here's something else I want every girl to know: when you say no, you're not closing a door. You're choosing to walk through the right one. Life isn't about collecting as many opportunities as possible. It's about collecting the right ones, the ones that feel aligned, that feel honest, that feel like they were meant for you. You don't need to say yes just to be liked. You need to say no because you love yourself enough to choose wisely. I've met young women across the world who feel trapped in roles they didn't choose, lives they didn't design, paths that were forced on them. And do you know where that starts? With not being allowed to say no. But we can change that. We can teach each other and ourselves that it's okay to say no without guilt. That no is not rejection. It's redirection. The day I learned to say no, I stopped living on other people's timelines. I stopped bending just to fit into someone else's idea of who I should be, and I started standing straight, tall, grounded in who I am. That's the thing about no, it's not a wall. It's a doorway to the life you actually want. So if you're in a place where you're afraid to say no to a person, to a job, to a demand that's draining you, I want you to remember this: your voice matters. Your boundaries matter, you matter. Saying no isn't the end of your story. It's the beginning of your power, and when you start saying no to what doesn't serve you, you make room to say yes to what will set you free. You don't need permission to protect your peace. You just need courage, and once you claim that, no one can take it away from you. So go ahead, say it loud, say it clear, no, and don't ever feel sorry for it. They say ambition in a woman is dangerous, that it's too loud, too aggressive, too much. But I say be too much, be relentless, be bold, be unstoppable in the pursuit of everything you dream about, because ambition is not a flaw, it's not arrogance. It's not a threat. Ambition is beautiful, ambition is power, and if there's one thing I've learned, it's that you should never, ever apologize for having it. Growing up in a small town in India, my dreams didn't fit the size of the world around me. I wasn't supposed to want more. I wasn't supposed to dream of walking global red carpets, producing films, or speaking on world stages. I was supposed to follow the safe path, check the right boxes, live within the lines. But there was always this fire in me that whispered, this life can be bigger, you can do more. And I listened to that voice, I nurtured it, I fought for it. That voice was ambition, and it saved me from being average. Ambition is not about greed or fame, it's about purpose. It's that inner force that pushes you out of your comfort zone and into the unknown. It's what drives you to try again when you fail. It's what keeps you moving when others stop. It's the reason you stay up late, learning, working, practicing, dreaming. It's not always glamorous. Sometimes it's messy, exhausting, even isolating, but it's worth it, because there's nothing more satisfying than knowing you gave everything you had to something you believe in. And here's something no one tells you. The world will try to shrink your ambition. People will tell you you're dreaming too big, that your goals are unrealistic, that you should slow down, settle down, calm down. Especially if you're a woman, they'll call you intimidating. They'll say you're too assertive, too driven. Don't listen to them. Their discomfort with your fire is not your problem. Your job is not to dim yourself to make others feel okay. Your job is to burn bright enough to light the way for others behind you. There were so many times in my career when I was told no. No, you're not the right fit. No, the audience won't relate. No, your accent is too thick. No, a woman can't lead this film. No, you can't produce it. No, this isn't your place. But ambition doesn't die in the face of rejection. It roars louder. Every no was fuel. Every setback was a setup for something greater. I learned to turn closed doors into opportunities, to keep showing up, to keep pushing forward. That's what ambition does. It teaches you to be your own biggest believer, even when no one else claps for you. Ambition also demands courage, the courage to take risks, the courage to fail in front of people, the courage to reinvent yourself when the world thinks you're done. There were times when I had to start over from Bollywood to Hollywood, from actor to producer, from comfortable to uncertain. But that's the thing, if your dreams don't scare you, they're not big enough. And if you're not willing to grow beyond what's familiar, you'll never know how powerful you really are. One of the most powerful things about ambition is that it's contagious. When you own your dreams out loud, you give others permission to do the same. That's why I speak up. That's why I take up space, because I want every young girl watching to know that it's okay to want more. It's okay to chase a life that excites you. You don't have to follow the script someone else wrote for you. You can write your own story on your own terms, and no, ambition doesn't mean you'll always have balance. There will be sacrifices. There will be days you're tired, lonely, unsure. But don't mistake that for weakness. It's part of the process. You're building something that doesn't exist yet. That takes strength. That takes resilience. That takes heart. It's also important to understand that ambition is deeply personal. It doesn't have to look like mine. Your dream might not be global fame or a business empire. It might be starting your own bakery, writing a book, becoming a teacher, building a family, changing your community. Whatever it is, own it. Go after it like your life depends on it, because the truth is, your soul does. Let the world call you ambitious, wear it like armor. Let them call you driven, smile and keep driving. Let them say you're obsessed, good. Be obsessed with your growth, your goals, your greatness. Because when you get to the top of that mountain, and you'll look back and realize that every step, every stumble, every scar was worth it. So don't wait for permission, don't wait for the perfect time. Start now, start where you are, use what you have and run with it. Be loud about your dreams, be relentless about your purpose, be fearless in your ambition, because the world doesn't need more women who play small. It needs more women who rise, who roar, and who reach higher every single day, and if that's too much for some people, there's a quiet kind of power that comes from education, not just formal education in classrooms or textbooks, but the kind of learning that never stops, the learning you chase because your curiosity is bigger than your fear, the learning that builds your mind, strengthens your voice, and sharpens your vision. That kind of education, the lifelong kind, is your secret weapon. And if there's one thing I've learned through every twist and turn of my journey, it's this: you must educate yourself always. When I was a young girl, I never imagined my life would span countries, industries, or global stages. But I knew early on that if I wanted to stand on my own 2 feet, I needed to arm myself with knowledge. Not just degrees, not just achievements, but a hunger to understand more, to grow constantly, and to never settle for what I already knew. That hunger has been my greatest ally. Education opens doors. It introduces you to the world beyond your corner. It allows you to sit at any table and speak with confidence. It teaches you to ask better questions. It makes you impossible to ignore, and more than anything, it gives you freedom. Because when you're educated, when you've taken the time to understand who you are, how the world works, and where you want to go, no one can take that away from you. I didn't have a film background. I didn't grow up around cameras or scripts. When I entered the entertainment industry, I didn't know anything about acting. I wasn't trained. I had to teach myself on the job, behind the scenes, from watching others, from reading, from failing. I was always asking questions, always observing, always learning, because I knew that talent would only take me so far. The rest would come from effort, discipline, and the willingness to keep growing. And that's what education is. It's not about knowing everything. It's about refusing to stop learning. It's easy to assume that once you graduate from school, you're done. But real life doesn't come with a curriculum. There's no final exam that tells you you've learned enough. Every stage of your life will demand a newer, wiser version of you, and education is how you evolve. Whether you're reading a book, watching a documentary, taking an online course, listening to a podcast, or learning a new skill, those moments add up. They shape your thinking, your decisions, your confidence. And here's the truth: being unprepared in today's world is a choice. We live in a time when information is everywhere. You have the power to learn about any subject, any industry, any issue. You don't need permission. You just need initiative, and I say this especially to girls and young women. Educate yourself so deeply, so thoroughly, that no one can question your seat at the table. Walk into every room with the kind of quiet strength that only comes from knowing you've done the work. In every industry I've entered, film, music, production, philanthropy, tech, business, I've been the newcomer at some point. I've felt the discomfort of not knowing, of feeling behind, but I never let that stop me. I let it push me. I studied the landscape. I listened. I read. I worked twice as hard to understand the rules so I could eventually rewrite them. That's what education gives you, the tools to change the game. But don't mistake education for perfection. You don't need to have all the answers. You just need to be willing to find them. Some of the most brilliant people I know ask the most questions. They're curious. They're humble enough to admit when they don't know something, and strong enough to go figure it out. That's intelligence, that's strength, that's leadership, and let's not forget education is not just for your career. It's for your soul. Learn about the world. Learn about people who are different from you. Learn about history, injustice, progress. Learn empathy. Learn compassion. Learn resilience. Those are the things that shape your character. And in the end, who you are will matter more than what you do. There's also something deeply empowering about being a woman who's informed. Society doesn't expect us to be loud about our knowledge, but we should be. Speak up, join the conversation, bring your research, bring your perspective. Let people know that you're not just present. You're prepared, you've done the reading, you've asked the questions, you've earned the right to be heard. And if there are systems around you that make education hard to access, fight for it, advocate for yourself, ask for help, support others, because education should never be a privilege, it should be a right. And once you have it, it becomes your responsibility to use it well, to create change, to lift others, to leave the world better than you found it. So, no matter where you are in your journey, start learning. Keep learning. Make it a habit, not a phase. Read widely, listen deeply, think critically, and most of all, stay curious. Curiosity is the fuel that will carry you through every challenge and opportunity. It will make you wiser, braver, stronger, because when a woman decides to educate herself, she doesn't just change her life. She changes the world around her, so keep growing, keep evolving, keep learning. Always, there is something profoundly powerful about women supporting other women, in a world that has for centuries pitted women against each other, making us feel like there's only one seat at the table, only one crown to be worn. Choosing to lift other girls up is an act of rebellion. But it's also an act of love, strength, and legacy. When you lift another girl up, you are not only helping her rise, you are anchoring a deeper belief that we are stronger together, that your success does not threaten mine, that there is room for all of us. I've walked into rooms where I was the only woman. I've stood on stages where I was the first woman of color. I've worked in industries where the competition between women was silently encouraged, where comparison was currency. And I've felt the weight of that. I've felt what it's like to be looked at as if your achievements somehow make another woman's light dimmer. But here's what I know for sure. Real confidence is never intimidated by someone else's shine. Real queens fix each other's crowns without telling the world they were crooked. There's this myth that there's not enough success, attention, or opportunity to go around, that if one woman wins, others must lose. But that scarcity mindset is outdated, harmful, and completely false. The truth is, every time one of us breaks a barrier, we widen the path for others. Every time you clap for another girl's achievement, you're showing the world that solidarity is more powerful than jealousy. Every time you share your knowledge, uplift a peer, mentor a younger girl, or simply offer kindness instead of judgment, you are changing the narrative. I've had the privilege of being lifted up by incredible women in my life. My mother, my mentors, my friends. Women who believed in me when I didn't yet believe in myself, who opened doors for me, who reminded me of my worth, and because of them, I learned the importance of paying it forward. We don't rise by climbing over each other. We rise by holding hands. Supporting other girls doesn't take away from your own journey. In fact, it strengthens it. Think about it. When you build a community of strong, driven, compassionate women around you, you create a force that can't be ignored. You create a circle of trust, encouragement, and accountability. You create a movement, and movements change the world. Sometimes lifting another girl up is as simple as being kind, as looking her in the eye and saying, "I see you." It's giving credit where it's due. It's recommending her for a role. It's celebrating her accomplishments with genuine joy. It's defending her when she's not in the room. It's telling her that she matters, even when she forgets it herself. We all have moments of doubt. We all have days when the world feels heavy, and on those days, a single word of encouragement can be life-changing. It's also about being honest. Lifting someone up doesn't mean sugarcoating things. It means helping her grow, giving her feedback with love, being real about your own struggles so she knows she's not alone. It's being vulnerable enough to say, "I've been there too," and strong enough to say, "You'll get through this." That kind of support, that balance of truth and love, is what sisterhood is made of, and let's be clear, supporting other girls doesn't mean you always have to agree with them. It means you respect their journey. It means you don't tear them down just because their choices, paths, or dreams look different from yours. We're not meant to be the same. We're meant to be united in our uniqueness. One of the most powerful things you can do with your platform, whatever size it is to use it to elevate others. Share stories that matter, amplify voices that go unheard, invest in women-led businesses, support organizations that educate and empower girls. Mentorship, allyship, and advocacy are not grand gestures, they are daily practices. Small acts that build a bigger, better world for all of us. We must also teach the next generation of girls that empowerment is not a solo act, that success is sweeter when it's shared, that competition should never come at the cost of compassion. If we want a world where girls feel safe, seen, and strong, we must model that for them. We must show them how to stand tall and how to help others stand taller. Lifting other girls up is not a weakness. It's not soft, it's not optional, it is revolutionary. In a world that profits off of our insecurities, there is nothing more radical than choosing to love, support, and root for each other loudly and unapologetically. So the next time you see a girl trying, building, dreaming, don't compete, don't compare, cheer her on, help her climb, share your strength, and when you rise, reach back and pull someone up with you. Because when one girl rises, we all do, and together we're unstoppable.